Farfrae still had no suspicions at all of his wife's former relationship with Henchard, and he could not understand at all why the haymaker should hate him so deeply. What harm have I done him? Said Farfrae to his wife one day. And yet I have been told he has been heard in the three mariners making awful threats against me. I can understand him being disappointed about the failure of his business, but I cannot see any reason for the hate he seems to feel. Now, can you, Lucetta? It is more like old-fashioned rivalry in love than just a bit of rivalry in trade. Lucetta had grown rather pale. No, she replied. I gave him employment. I cannot refuse it. But I cannot be blind to the fact that he might be dangerous. What have you heard, Donald dearest? Said Lucetta in alarm. The words on her lips were, anything about me? But she did not say them. She could not hide her worry, though, and her eyes filled with tears. No, no, it is not as serious as you think, declared Farfrae soothingly. I wish you would do what we have talked of, Lucetta said. Give up business and go away from here. We have plenty of money, and why should we stay? They discussed this possibility for some time until a visitor called unexpectedly. It was their neighbor, Alderman Wet. He had come to ask Farfrae if he would accept the position of mayor if it were offered him. I wouldn't refuse it if it is the wish of majority of the council, Farfrae murmured, somewhat astonished. Very well then, look on yourself as elected, said Wet. When he was gone, Farfrae said thoughtfully, see now how we are ruled by the powers above us. We plan this, but we do something different. If they want to make me mayor, I will stay in Casterbridge, whatever Henchard thinks. From this evening onward, Lucetta was very uneasy. She decided she must ask Henchard again to return all her letters to her. She managed to do this by meeting him as if by accident in the marketplace one day. Why, bless you, I packed them up to give to you in the coach that time, but you never appeared. She explained how the death of her aunt had prevented her from making the journey on that day. And what became of the parcel then, she asked. He wasn't sure. When she was gone, he remembered that he had left some unwanted papers in his former dining room safe built into the wall of his old house, now occupied by Farfrae. The letters had probably been among them. The next morning, Henchard went to the corn yard as usual, though now more than ever. He hated Farfrae, for he had learned the previous day that Farfrae had indeed been made mayor. At about 11 o'clock, Farfrae entered the yard, and Henchard asked him about the parcel. Farfrae said he had never opened the safe. It must still be there. Wanting more than ever to show his friendship, he said Henchard should come to see him about it in the evening. It was quite late when Henchard arrived at his former house. He had a few drinks before going there. Farfrae invited him straight into the dining room, opened the safe, and drew out the parcel and other papers with apologized for not returning them before. Never mind, said Hencher dryly. The fact is they are letters mostly. Yes, he sat down and began unfolding Lucetta's passionate bundle. Here they are. That I should ever see them again. I hope Mrs. Farfrae is well. She has felt a bit weary and gone to bed early. You don't forget, of course, Henchard continued, that curious chapter in the history of my past, which I told you of. These letters are in fact related to that unhappy business. Do you remember how you helped me? What became of the poor woman? Asked Farfrae. Luckily, she married and married well, said Henchard, so that these unhappy writings do not make me feel guilty. Just listen to what an angry woman will say, Farfrae. Farfrae, willing to please Henchard, though quite uninterested and yawning with tiredness, listened to the contents of the letter. For me, Henchard read, there is practically no future. It is impossible for me to be the wife of any other man. Though I know you did not intend to wrong me, yet you are the door through which wrong has come to me. My life is unbearable now. No one here will speak to me any more. I am still alone. That's how she went on to me, said Henchard. Thousands of words like that, when I could not help what had happened. Yes, said Farfrae absently. It's always the same way with women. Hanchard unfolded another letter and read it through too, but stopping at the name as before. Her name I don't give, he said innocently, as I didn't marry her and another man did. I don't think it would be fair. True, true, said Farfrae. But why didn't you marry her when your wife Susan died? Farfrae asked this in the comfortable voice of one who is not at all involved. Ah, you may well ask that, said Henchard, grinning evilly. In spite of all she wrote here, he shook the letters when I did ask her. She refused, she married someone else. The young lady must have had a heart that changed very easily, said Farfrae, smiling. She had, said Henchard with more meaning than Farfrae could possibly know. Henchard read more of the letters, always meaning to read out the name at the last. But sitting there he could not do it. He had not sunk quite that low. As Donald had said, Lucetta had gone to bed early because she was tired, but she could not sleep. She decided that a warm drink from the kitchen might help. So she went quietly downstairs. Passing by the dining room, she heard voices. She paused and was suddenly horrified. Her own words, spoken in Henchard's voice, came to her quite clearly, like spirits from the grave. Lucetta backed against the wall in misery. More and more words fell upon her ear. But what amazed her most was the tone of her husband's voice. He did not seem at all interested, almost as if he was only staying to be polite. If I were you, I would destroy those letters, said Farfrae. As the lady is now another man's wife, they would harm the woman if their contents became known. No, I shall not destroy them, murmured Henchard, putting the letters away. Then Lucetta heard no more. She went back to her bedroom, not knowing what to think. Would Henchard tell her husband? She heard a door slam downstairs and then Donald came up. She looked at his face as he came into the bedroom. To her joyful amazement, she saw the relieved smile of a man who has just finished with some small annoyance. Of all people, he said to her, he was the last one I wanted to have as a visitor, and I believe he is a little crazy. He has been reading me a lot of letters relating to his past life, and I had to listen to him to be polite. The next morning, Lucetta decided to write to Henchard. I overheard you speaking to my husband last night, and I see how you mean to get your revenge. The very thought of it crushes me. Have pity. If you could see me, you would not do this to me. When Henchard approached the meeting place, he saw her waiting there, and a great change came over him. Her figure in the middle of the huge ruins so strongly brought back the memory of another badly treated woman who had stood there and was now dead. That he was full of regret when he approached her, and before she had spoken a word, he knew he would do what she asked. He felt ashamed and lost all desire to humiliate Lucetta. He asked her what she wished for. Give me back the letters and any papers you may have of mine. As soon as possible, I shall return them all to you. He answered, but between you and me, Lucetta, Farfrae is sure to find out something of the matter sooner or later. Ah, she said with a sigh, but not until I have proved myself a faithful and deserving wife to him, and then he may forgive me everything. Hanchard silently looked at her and then said slowly, you shall have your letters, and your secret shall be kept. I swear it.